Hey, I'm Matt Golson, and this is another Insane Budget Photography. Today I want to talk about this camera, the GH5. So in 2021, I decided I wanted to get more serious about video creation. I was using the camera I'm filming on right now, a Canon M50. I was using it a lot, and I really love that camera, but I was starting to think that I had some limitations with it. I wasn't really sure what these limitations were, to be honest with you, other than like things like color depth. Like I knew it didn't have the 10-bit 422 color. I knew it didn't, 4K on the M50 is really, really bad. It's pretty bad. As always, whenever I do one of these videos, a cat wants to join me. Yeah, look at this. This is Canon's. How important is 4K? Well, up until just recently, I didn't even really have 4K. My TV was 4K, but I always just plug a computer to it, and the computer I plugged into it didn't really play back at 4K. It couldn't play back at 4K. I only recently got a video card for my living room media center computer that does 4K, and I'm like, yeah, that is sharper. It looks better. Is it like that much better? I've been using Canon my whole life. The GH5 was different. It's a different camera. I didn't find it as user-friendly as the Canons, probably because I'm just used to them, but also I struggled with a few things. One, it just basically has unusable autofocus. I could not really rely on the autofocus, and my filmmaking is not, I rarely ever actually record somebody else, and even if I do, I'm not good enough on focusing really to autofocus, and I'm kind of a lazy filmmaker. So I mean, I need the autofocus. I'm not good enough to manual focus. So lack of autofocus was a huge problem for me on this camera. The other thing is I just didn't really take the time. I started using it and I was like, yeah, struggling with focus. I've got the app. I'm setting focus points using the app on my phone, because a lot of times I'm recording myself. Plus, I just didn't get into filmmaking as heavily as I thought I was going to be, like more quality video production. So the big advantage of this camera, though, are the many codecs and settings it has. It has a lot of versatility. It's so funny because this camera is probably twice the weight and size of the M50 I'm shooting on now, but it has a smaller sensor. So let's switch over and see what they look like. Okay guys, so now I'm on the GH5. I've got image, I've got eye detect, autofocus on. Took my glasses off. I think it'll get confused if they're on. Yeah, it bounces all over the place. I'm on the same lens. It's the 28-135. It's that great cheap Canon lens I've done a video about, the EF lens. Love this lens. It's dirt cheap and does a great job. I'm shooting 4K now on the GH5, and I'm at 422 10-bit color, so 150 megabytes per second. So probably file sizes are way, way, way bigger. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use both cameras and record a little Christmas scene sort of scene. I want to do a little comparison. The GH5 does have the better IBIS. It has the better stabilization. It has great IBIS. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to try to add a warp stabilizer and make it a little bit better. And so I'm going to try to probably use the manual focus on GH5. We'll see what I'll do. And I've got also, I did buy an actual GH5 lens, an actual micro four thirds Panasonic lens, a Lumix lens. It's kind of like the kit lens. So I'll compare the M50 because it has like the, I forgot what the kit lens, oh here it is. The kit lens for the 15-45 for the M50, and this one is a 14-42, so pretty much the same lens, probably about the same quality. So we'll compare them with the speed booster and this lens, and then we'll compare them with their kit lenses, and we'll do a little look at this Christmas tree over here, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's take a look at some comparisons. We've got the GH5 on the left, we got the M50 on the right. The M50 looks darker here. I don't like the way it looks as much. The GH5 with the adapter, though, is focusing a lot. If you start watching it, you see it focus all over the place. Now here we are with the kit lens. It does great with the kit lens. Both cameras do exceptional with the kit lens. But the M50 is very shaky. It just doesn't look nearly as smooth, whereas the GH5, it has some really, really good advanced stabilization using the in-body stabilization and then also using lens stabilization. It does some pretty good stuff. rough here when you use the original Panasonic lenses. To me, it's really, really, really smooth. It's not gimbal smooth, but if you're careful, you can do better than that. Some photography, low light photography. Neither one of these cameras is a low light beast, you know, but 6400 ISO, okay pictures. The M50 looks pretty decent to me at 6400. I mean, I'd definitely be okay with that. And then the GH5 colors look kind of dingy and washed out. You lose a lot of detail. It's just not as sharp. So I didn't care as much for the low light at ISO 6400. Now M50, for some reason I took this at 1600. I wanted to do a little bit higher ISO comparison here. So I thought both of these photos look really, really good. And then I was relying a little bit more on lower shutter speed and higher, kind of relying on the stabilization to make good photos, which it does a good job on both. But you can go crazy low with that in-body stabilization with the GH5. And yeah, I thought both of those photos came out really nice. I just wanted to show you this one really quick because this is with the 2005, so almost 20-year-old, the 2005 Canon 5D Classic, the 5D Mark I. It only goes to ISO 1600, but I mean, I love that photo more than, I like that photo more than the other two. I think the colors look better, and it was a little darker because it couldn't go up as high, but it turned out great. Okay guys, back on the GH5, got the kit lens, got good autofocus. Let's test that autofocus out. Oh, it's trying to find my eyes. Yep, there it goes, it finds them. It's got eye detect autofocus going back. It works really good with a kit lens. Like the autofocus is fine, there's no problems as long as you're using actual micro four thirds lens. I think probably by Panasonic, but just with the adapter, and I've tried STM lenses too. I've tried a 50mm STM. I've tried a couple other STM lenses, and they just really don't work with the adapter. It just can't seem to autofocus for some reason. Okay, so the Lumix GH5 and as a body and the Canon M50 as a body are roughly the same price right now. The GH5 is probably going to be about $100 more, but if you shop around, you can probably find one for $400, and you can probably find a Canon M50 for less than $400 right now, without as just a body. And so you really want to get these kit lenses with them, which you can usually find that too if you don't have any lenses. But if you had to choose between the two, I mean, they're both really great, kind of like, I say advanced cameras, you know, starter cameras, but the GH5 is way, 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 way more advanced, can do so many more things. And, you know, it's probably overall a much better camera with, you know, great video settings, great 4K, good photography, great photography ability. And it's not hampered as much as you'd think by the small sensor, I don't think. Low light, you know, not a star for low light. But if you want something to really learn cinematography on and video on, then it's probably a great camera. If you want something just to make videos, I think you'd probably be, and you don't care about 4K, you'd probably be a lot happier with the Canon M50. The problem with the Canon M50 is the M2 lenses are just like, you know, that mount that Canon has stopped supporting it. So you get the Viltrox adapter and you go EF lenses. The Viltrox adapter wasn't that high, and then, you know, if you don't have EF lenses, they've come down in price a lot lately. So it really depends, you know, which one I would recommend or which camera is better or whatever. It's really just like what you want to do with it. If you want to really get into you know, understanding different codecs and understanding getting a color grading and do more with video, then GH5 obviously. But more often than not, I'm going to grab my Canon M50 just to make a video and produce content. That's it. Later.